Come on. You're on.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us once again for ForeverFootballShow.com. It's a pleasure to count on your presence here. Fans, soccer fans, football fans from all over the world. We're broadcasting live from Georgian Dragon in Seattle. So thank you once again for joining. With me, as usual, I have Ari from City of Rain. And by the way, today that name is very applicable. Seattle's having one of those. I also have Joe from Furia Immortal. And always, as usual, our producer, director cut, Jack Hilton as well. Jack, your cousin Perry says hi. Folks, we had an incredible week. The Sounders, the MLS kicked off after all the confusion about the agreements and the potential strikes. The season started. So you guys were there, right? And by the way, it was another rainy day. So what do you guys think? Did the Sounders look good enough for the season?
They got the 3 points, you know. You started off first match of the season, got some bugs to work out, some jitters maybe. And they didn't look good in the first 10 to 15, I thought. But, you know, they pulled through and really played a physical match that Sounders were able to withstand some physical blows and get the goals they needed. So I thought they looked all right.
Yeah, I thought they looked all right for the first kick. You know, I feel like we're a little lightweight up top thanks to Kuko not quite being here yet and Jacob being injured, but hopefully we can continue to bag the goals.
Look, I love the game. I thought it was a great presentation. I just felt that this was one opportunity that we had, that Ziggy and the team had, to try to keep pressing forward. We've been used last season, to sort of like, you know, small and kind of narrow margins of victories. I don't even remember if we ever scored more than 3 goals in a game. I don't think we did.
Not very often, no.
So I thought that this was an opportunity to keep pressing and just try to keep pressing a team that was already beaten. But at the same time, you know, it's a good start. It's a good way to accumulate 3 points and get started. Negative comments. I thought that the coach, I don't want to even mention, I don't even remember the name of the coach from the Philadelphia.
Noah.
Thank you. I thought he was a very sore loser. Very sore loser. You know, it's a team that's just getting started. He needs to do a better PR for his team and, you know, just have a better showing. He came complaining about our Freddy's rolling. He kept complaining that our crowd was quiet. He watched a different game. That's all I have to say. Anyways, so that was the Sounders. Good way to start. We're happy. I think that we're going to get a good season.
I hope so.
What about the other games in the MLS? What do you guys think? Any surprise? Any shockers?
Well, one that really stood out to me was RSL's win over the Earthquakes. And there were some fantastic goals scored. It was a really strong showing. So it was a little worrisome being a Sounders fan, you know, seeing that strong RSL side come out.
Well, they're the champions, right? I mean, we would expect, even though they're playing on the road, they're playing
MLS
at
least. They finished with below 50% wins. So
there we go.
Season.
One that caught my attention was actually Kansas beating DC United 4-0. I thought it was too much.
That's the one I was going to mention, just as KC. I think they came on a little bit towards the end of the season last year, but I never saw the big stick to DC United like that. That was a surprise result for me for sure.
Awesome. One that I was happy about was Red Bull winning against Chicago 1-0. That was pretty good for a couple of reasons. The Red Bull had a horrible season last year. I think one of the reasons because they were investing a lot of money in their stadium, which is, by the way, is awesome. We saw last week in the opening. And they beat Chicago at home to start the season with 3 points. I like that. I think they deserve it. You know, a team that is making the investment and betting on soccer. I think that's a good thing for the MLS. I think it's good for soccer in the U.S. And we, you know, last week Joe and I talked about the fact that they beat 3-1 Santos that were full of reserves, but at least they came back and won again. Which, by the way, Santos that same day, the next day, they beat in the Paulista Championship in Brazil. They won 9-1.
Yeah.
So I think that the Red Bulls actually got, you know, they got a good deal for playing the reserves. Because, you know, 9-1 would have been a little bit, you know, staying in their opening game. Anyways, anything else? Yeah, well, I think the usual suspects, right? Montero started with a goal, a good thing for him.
Well, one thing to go back to that Red Bull for a minute is, not only did they get the win in their home opener, league home opener, but, they filled up that stadium. It's a brand new stadium. And going back to DC for a minute, that was something else that came up this week was Garber is not very happy with DC, the politicians and whatnot, as far as trying to get a stadium built for them, because they play in RFK, which is an old football stadium. And I hope that DC is able to look at what the Red Bull have done with that new stadium and how it was full. And I just hope that that starts to get some momentum going for hopefully for DC United.
Especially with such a strong following for DC United, I feel like they really deserve that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. This concludes our segment about the MLS and the Sounders. We'll be back in a minute to talk about some other leagues. Now, before we go there, I want to remind you, this is foreverfootballshow.com. We are live every Sunday around 5 p.m. Pacific time. You guys, we are still in pilot mode. If you're watching this, you are one of the privileged invited audience. And as we said, we are going to go live in a couple of weeks and repeating our show every week at 5 p.m. Pacific time at foreverfootballshow.com. For now, you'll hear we are broadcasting live, so